Hello, everybody. It's good to be sharing with you again in our digital sermon. I have a question for you. What does the perfect life look like? We're in the process at the moment in the Ipswich circuit of putting together a profile of what we require from a new minister in the circuit. We're delighted that this year we've been incredibly successful and we have 2 new ministers joining us in September, and we hope that over the coming weeks and months you will get to know them as well as you've known some of our previous staff who have come and shared services with you. And each time ministers change, we always hope that the new one will be the perfect minister. And I wonder what that looks like. I can remember being in a meeting, I guess now possibly 25 years ago. And I can remember a man saying, "It's 30 years since we had a decent minister in this church. That's why we're in the mess we're in now." And I thought, well, surely that's got something to do with the church as well as just the minister. But you see, I think for quite a long time before I came into the ministry myself, I believed that the success or the failure of a church depended on the quality of the minister. And we're in that process at the moment in Ipswich of deciding what the perfect minister to come and work among us next summer will look like, will be like, what gifts and graces they will bring to us. And we want them to be almost what is impossible for them to be. And that, I think, is always quite a challenge. And I think that's very similar to life itself, because I think one of the things we do in life is we spend a lot of time striving for perfection. And we've got a good idea of what perfection looks like, because we're told it on television, we're told it in the media. We get a glimpse of what it ought to look like. And we believe that certain things will bring us happiness, a certain shape of body, which is why all these slimming groups are doing such great work. If you really work at it, you will have the perfect body. And that's what people are striving for. And we see it as the lottery adverts come along, when we're told, what you've got to do, £2 for a ticket, you'll win a fortune potentially, and if you do, you will be happy. We're told it on television quiz programmes, just win this money, what will you do with it? Because will that bring you happiness? Will that give you the perfect life, the perfect house, the perfect family? I think that what I have learned over the years is that perfect is possibly what we already have. Perfect may not be what we're striving for. Perfect may be what we already have and what we already are doing. It strikes me as I read this letter to the Hebrews. It is such a positive message that is being shared with the people. Look at all the things that God has done. Isn't it amazing? I'm sitting at the moment in my study, looking out through my window, and we have got a load of blackberries in our back garden. I've never planted them there. When we came to this house, the back garden was virtually empty. It's the second year that we've had blackberries, and every time we go out and pick a load of them, there's even more grow. I've done nothing for it. I haven't planted them. I've not cared for the plants at all. All I've done is go out and pick some fruit, and that's it. The rest is a gift from God, and isn't that wonderful? And so I agree with the writer of this letter. I agree with him. Just look at what God can do. Isn't it amazing? The danger is that if we follow what is said here, the danger is we believe that if God is for us, then who can be against us? We have the perfect life because we have God. And that is fine until something goes wrong. And I've grappled for many, many years with the question, why do bad things happen to good people? Over my time in the ministry, I've sat with some of the most devout, lovely people who have been dying far too young. And there's a tendency to think, what are you doing, God? These people have got so much more to give. And just at the wrong point, you take them away from us. And that's painful. I find it very, very difficult because we have a prayer in the Methodist calendar in our covenant service that says, put me to suffering. And I know a lot of people who find that almost impossible to say. As though what we're saying is, we're prepared to do anything, go anywhere for you. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do bad things happen to faithful people? But you see, I think when Jesus speaks the words that are recorded in Luke's Gospel that we've just heard, I think what Jesus is saying is, I'm not coming simply to make life perfect for you. I'm not coming here to tell you that this is all easy. I'm coming to tell you that this is hard. And we know that he believes that because, you see, at the first Easter, we see Christ suffering physical pain as he is flogged and as he is nailed to a tree. The physical suffering that some of us have felt. We see the emotional suffering as one by one his friends turn away from him. We feel the mockery of a trial, the injustice that's done, and all the hurt that causes. And Jesus knows that he isn't coming to make things easy. He's coming to put things right. And you see, I think that is the message that we need to take from these two readings today. And so I'd like to just pose you a question. What does perfect look like? In church? In your private life? In your family life? in your work life? What is perfect? And maybe it's worth also thinking about this question of why do bad things happen to good people? You see, I find, particularly as a minister and as I prepare sermons week in, week out throughout the year, I find myself repeatedly asking questions sometimes that I don't know the answer to. And I would suggest to you that if you sit listening to this, or if during the course of a Sunday you sit and listen to a sermon, and the sermon raises more questions than it answers, please ask for clarification. We so often think that the person that stands at the front or sits here and talks to us on a screen knows all the answers. We don't. But there may be times when we can go away and find out and share the truths with you. So don't be frightened of asking. Life isn't perfect. Life isn't easy. It never will be. But it can be made a whole lot more understandable if we ask the questions. Amen. Thank you for listening.